The biggest challenge of carbon neutrality today is that there isn't enough data. I mean, embodied energy for materials and products may be readily available in some countries, but in much of the world, it's not available. So if the goal is that we're going to get somewhere, what must change in the transparency of the supply chains? I mean, this is central to this idea, is it not?
Yes, you're absolutely right. I mean, the whole embodied discussion is a huge one. You know, you have two screws, stainless steel, exactly the same. One produced by this energy source and the other one by this. And you have to know the difference. You have to be able to calculate back the CO2 content of that particular element.
Exactly.
And it's a huge job. You know, if you look at the millions and millions of products out there, it's a huge job. So what you do logically is you limit yourself a little bit in the choice of materials that you have at hand. And you use those where you can follow the production line back and making sure that at some point, at least you have an average understanding of the CO2 embodied consumption in that material or in that product. And it's possible. It's possible. We have followed this throughout many years, and slowly there are many companies around there developing their own calculation programs for embodied energies. But it's still not a precise science. Right. So we need every producer in this world to produce a document of every product worldwide that clearly describes how much CO2 is embedded in this product. And I don't care if it's 0 or plus or 10 kilos or 100 kilos. I just need to know how much it is.
Will carbon neutral also become cost neutral? You know, because
yes,
there is this. Question. It's a big question. I know developers in Asia who flinch at the idea of 30% energy efficiency.
In Europe, for the moment, I think we can actually produce a CO2 neutral over 30 years building with approximately 2 to 3% more cost.
Right.
So it's not significant, and with the future of sort of marking buildings that are performing and marking buildings that are not performing, there is also long-term economy in this for the developers. And I think they should be very aware that high energy consumption buildings are going to fall in price. And good performative buildings are going to increase in price compared to the two. So there will be a division in the market long-term where these things have different prices.
What do you think will drive this? Should I be looking out for policy change? Should I be looking out for shifts in public opinion? Should I be looking out for the way in which banks lend money? What do you think will drive this shift towards carbon neutrality?
I think policies, yes, for sure. I mean, there needs to be a public understanding, and I would say the EU is working quite hard, taxonomy, trying to make this work. We're seeing a lot of movements in the EU. Green cities development. We're seeing a lot of different types of policies coming out for the moment where it makes it easier to understand and differentiate whatever is environmentally sound and whatever isn't.
Right.
On the other hand, when it comes to the worldwide kind of decision-making, I think there's a certain urge. You know, it's the young people's urge that creates the change, not necessarily us, old men, you know. It's definitely part of the next generation, and we see an engagement that is, of course, much higher than when I was a student. We were interested in architecture as an art form. Now they're interested in architecture to be able to solve the problems ahead of us, really, which is a much more mature and much more knowledgeable attitude towards architecture. Because, you know, a lot of the students I meet now also are a little bit afraid of the future.
Yes.
So many things need to happen at the same time. The economies, the policies, the practitioners, and cross professional at the same time, working with the engineers, working with the scientists.
And public opinion, yeah.
And public opinion. But public opinion, I mean, architects have a slow change, right?
Yes.
Public opinion is an even slower change.